the synthesis essay, what is that? How is it different from a research paper? Because there is a research requirement that we'll look at in just a minute. You have to do research and find sources. Synthesis simply means that you find information from resources and you piece it all together and to form your argument for or against something in this case, and that's what this essay is meant to do. So just like in our past week's readings, we looked at different genres on the same topic. They were all basically making the same argument. So if you went to the library, you would want to find sources that supported your side of the argument, whatever that might be. And you also critically think about that information, combine it with your own ideas, experiences, put it into your own words, and that is synthesizing the information. Okay? That's the basic essence of the assignment. So let's look at some of the particulars. Format and submission. The citation style is MLA style. And the reason that is a requirement is because most academic writing is in MLA style. And it's very important for you to learn it. We use style guides, and you can see down in the resources. You don't have to memorize every single rule, but you have to know where to find those rules when it's time to write your paper, cite the sources, and create a properly formatted source page at the end of your paper. Even when you synthesize information into your own words, wherever you got those pieces of information, whatever resource you pulled that information from, even if you put it totally into your own words, you still must cite that source. So citing properly is very, very important in academic writing. So the MLA is the style that we'll use for this paper, for this assignment. The length, 4 to 5 pages, double-spaced, and that works out to be about 1,250 to 1,500 words. It does not include the source page. So that's from your title down to the very last sentence of the conclusion, okay? I know it sounds probably like a lot, but once you get started, once you pull in 3 to 5 sources, which you can see on the next line is the requirement, then you'll need that much time to make an effective argument to persuade your readers, okay? Submission, we're going to put the rough drafts on Blackboard. We'll have peer review on Blackboard, and then when it's time to submit the final version for me to grade for you, then that will go into your shared with me, your Google folder. I've listed all these resources here, and you'll see these on almost every writing assignment this semester, repeating them because it's important for you to know how to find them anytime you want to. So I put them in multiple places. They're also in the course schedule, like everything else. And but this basically talks about everything from how do I put together a cohesive essay, one that makes sense, that has good flow, all the way down to how to evaluate sources, and a lot of sources under this heading talk about MLA style. That's where you'll find those guides that will help you cite any kind of source that you want to use, whether it's a digital, a website, whatever, or a book, or a magazine, or an academic journal article, which is one of the requirements up above here. It says 3 to 5 sources, and one must be a peer-reviewed academic journal. All peer-reviewed means is that a group of the author's peers, other experts, just like the author or authors, a group of peers reviewed the article before it was allowed to be published in the publication. Academic journals are typically journals for a particular profession, group of people, community, and you can pretty much count on, if you find an academic journal, it's probably been peer-reviewed if you're getting it out of a journal, okay? And we'll have more discussion about that next week as well. The purpose we kind of talked about is critically thinking about your topic, and you get to choose whatever topic you want for this paper. Some people love that. Some people would rather be told what to write about, but you get to choose something you're interested in, something you want to learn more about, something that you're interested in taking a side on. And I gave you some examples in the announcements, a list of possible topics. I can give you a lot more that might be interesting to you. And almost everything you can argue one side for or against. You know, even if you're going to talk about why it's important to eat 3 meals a day, you could argue, no, it's not, or yes, you can, and make an argument for it. The only thing is, whatever topic you pick, just remember you have to find an academic journal article to include in the paper, and that's not always easy if your topic is very, very contemporary or very, like something that's going on today that might not have been already in the journal articles enough research done on. So just remember that. So the requirements for the paper, it's a basic format for if you've done research papers before. You'll have an introduction that introduces the topic, and it's to draw your audience in. It's to let them know what's this paper going to be about, so they're not left guessing. I also want to mention here, some people just want to put synthesis essay for the title, and you need to put a title on that paper, something else, some other words that tell your audience what it's about. Doesn't have to be complicated or fancy, but it needs to be something other than synthesis essay or synthesis assignment or something like that. Main body, that's like any other paper. The paragraphs need to flow and need to be cohesive. And then you'll have a conclusion, and this is where you get to recap all the pieces of information that you've brought in and shared with your audience, the argument that you've made. This is your chance to drive home one more time your side of the argument. The works cited page is a totally separate page. It should begin on a separate page. If the last page of your paper only has 2 sentences on it and it's finished, you go all the way, put a page break, and begin a brand new page with your source page. And that's very important, and that's part of MLA style. The source page you can call works cited page, source page, sources. That isn't as important, but it needs a title also. And there's a proper format for that. And we'll look at that next week. Then I have made a little reminder table for due date, what is due, and how to submit it. So the rough draft is due October 7th, and you post it to Blackboard, and then you will review 2 of your classmates' papers. You will make comments on those, and we will talk about how to give good peer review, how to make comments on both Word documents and Google documents, and for your peers. That will help them. The whole idea is to help them make their paper better and to make the writing better. Okay? And then Sunday, October 11, the final version is due, and you submit that in your Shared With Me Google folder, and that's when I grade them. I make comments, and I make a lot of comments that will help you revise that paper for your final portfolio at the end of the semester. Okay? So, and then I include some tips and some suggestions. We'll go over these next week in our small group meetings. Okay, before we wrap up this review, I want to take a quick look at the grading rubric. It can be found in the announcements posted. A link was posted to the grading rubric as well as to the assignment sheet. And it's also in the course schedule in the left-hand bar menu of the home page. You can find that anytime in those places. You can read how your paper will be assessed and how your grade will be calculated based upon how you met certain criteria, okay, for yourselves. And we can go over it. Anything that you have questions about in small group meetings, we can go over it then too. But I want to draw your attention particularly to style and voice. This is something that you're going to be hearing all semester. As I've said, Composition 2, just concentrates on or focuses on writing in the academic style. So that means not using first or second person. In academic writing, you won't find the use of the words I, me, my, you, yours. Instead, it uses third person. So you might say, this is the correct way. Research in this essay shows that ... and make that side of your argument. The wrong way to do it would be based upon my sources, I think that ... or you should think ... based upon my sources in this essay. Using third person allows the sources, the research that you did to speak for itself and support the argument. It makes it much less of an opinion piece. And that's why you don't use the words I or you. Okay? So we'll talk about this a lot the rest of this semester.